What is up, guys? Pulse Panda here with the second try for the StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm build order tutorial series. I'm very sorry about the first video. I was kind of in a hurry, and I really wanted to get it out there and see what kind of feedback I would get. But no excuses, it sucked. So I'm trying number 2. So just recap. Basically what this tutorial is designed to do is I'm going to take you through different steps. First is just versus AI to practice out the build, and it'll just focus on one specific build order for Terran and just run it through the AI, and then I'll stream some games and show you guys how they're implemented in queue. Keep in mind this is still really my first video ever on YouTube. I mean, my first one kind of sucked, so I'm counting this as my first. Hopefully it'll be good. Please bear with me. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. My link will be below. The first build order is going to be 1-1-1, where you just start with a barracks, a starport, and a factory as Terran. It really works pretty well against any other race, and it has my own little twist to it. So we're gonna get started. So basically the first step is going to be against AI. I'm just going to be doing the build order, getting it nice and clean, and good practice for it, and I will be describing what you're supposed to do during each step. I go by supply. So game is started. Just as a general thing, I like to set my camera hotkeys F2, 3, and 4, and just immediately start building SCVs. Don't worry about your command center microing the SCVs to the double per mineral patch or whatever the heck that's called. Don't worry about that, honestly. Right now this is silver play, and it really doesn't matter at this level. I also like to hotkey my barracks or my command center to 4, but that's just me. So when you're at 10, you want to hotkey and rally your 10th SCV to the ramp. I know that higher up you don't actually go to the ramp, because no one really does that kind of thing, but in silver there's a lot of cheeses and stuff, so it helps. At 11, before the supply depot is done, you're going to want to place your first refinery, and you're going to be wanting to skip an SCV. You do not want to be building a 12th SCV right now. You need enough money for the barracks.
Not enough minerals.
This is really the only time you're going to be wanting to skip an SCV.
Not enough minerals.
Make sure you load up the refinery so you have just enough for a factory, and then immediately start producing SCVs again. Alright, so we're going nicely. Everything's doing what it's supposed to. Keep producing SCVs. Keep a mild eye on your barracks progression. Just rally your barracks to the open gap where you would normally finish your supply depot wall. You'll be finishing that later, but you're gonna want some marines there, just so you can stop a probe if it's a Protoss trying to build in your base or something. And then, as soon as your barracks is done, build a factory right above it. Saves time. Use the same SCV. Just build it. Excuse me, I have a slight cold. And then immediately, well, stop producing SCVs now. You're at 16 supply. You're building a marine.
Not enough
and
minerals.
Just get a orbital
minerals.
command. It'll take a little bit. You'll be slightly held up, but that'll be okay.
Minerals.
And then just get another marine. Grab an SCV, and you're going to be wanting to build a supply depot. Just get it there nice and quick, There's no need for finishing off the wall. The point of having the barracks down there is really just to give vision for now.
Upgrade
You'll be
complete.
finishing it off later. Make sure to drop a mule as soon as that's done, and as soon as your factory is done at about 19, you are going to be building a starport right above your factory. Just save nice time.
Not enough
You're going to be slightly supply blocked, or not supply blocked, mineral blocked. But again, that is okay. It's not a big deal. And at the same time, you're going to be wanting to place your refinery. If you Don't place your refinery now. What's going to end up happening is you're going to be wanting to build siege tanks, and you're going to be wanting to build Medivacs. Now, if you look at the Vespene cost for both of those, you're not going to be able to mine enough Vespene from one geyser to be able to build both. Right about now, you're going to be wanting to build another supply depot just for, ease of mind, so you don't get supply blocked. That's always been one problem with me. I always supply block. It's not good, but whatever. And as soon as you have enough minerals and Vespene, you're going to be wanting to build a siege tank. You're going to be slightly supply blocked, but that's really not a big deal. Just drop a mule. Don't waste your call down, because that's really a waste. And right about now, you're going to be wanting to be getting a tech lab on your barracks. That'll allow you to get the concussive shells for your marauders, because early game marauders are really good. Build another supply depot. Try and stay between 2 and 4 supply ahead of the current, but that's whatever. It takes practice. Build a marauder.
Additional supply depots required.
Seize your siege tank. Make sure you keep building supply depots at this point because you're building a lot of SCVs and a lot of troops. Make sure you keep building SCVs. It's highly important. Once you get your Medivac, you're going to be wanting to build a reactor. Load up your siege tank, your marauder, and a couple marines into the Medivac and send them to the back of their base. Immediately start building another siege tank. Don't forget to hotkey the Medivac. At 40, build an engineering bay that'll allow you to get turrets if you need to, that'll allow you to get upgrades if you don't need turrets. And take your drop and drop it in their base. I, in this replay, did not drop my tank in a very good spot. Normally, you want it in a more pinpointed spot, like, for example, near a Vespene geyser, because that makes it harder for SCVs to surround it. As you'll see in the later games, SCVs are brutal if they can surround you. Right about now, 47, build another command center.
Not enough minerals.
Don't worry about your engineering bay now, it just gives you the possibilities for when you have extra stuff. Also keep in mind that this is AI, and I kind of forgot about that. And I wanted to show you the rest of where to transition to. So right there, I forgot about supply depots and got supply blocked pretty hard. Start getting one attack on your engineering bay, I believe is what I just did. If I didn't do that, that's what you want to do. Right about at 53 or so, if that's where we're at.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
And just try and get your combat shields now, and just build up marines and siege tanks and medevacs. This will transition into a bio siege tank medevac build. It also does give you the option for Vikings, let's say if you need to kill Colossi. But it gives you a good amount of marauders and a good amount of marines and a pretty good amount of siege tanks. If you build another factory, you'll just be killing with siege tanks. And then right about now, my command center just finished. Keep building supply depots, even though I didn't need to. My command center finished, so I can lift that up, expand it, and just move my entire army down there, set all the rallies down there. Just make sure to defend that. When that lands, I'm going to be wanting to build an orbital command. So really some strengths with this build is it gives you a good army and decent tech pretty early, at the sacrifice of an early lead on economy. To be fair, I am not sure having that early economy with this build is even a big deal, because the early tech is just really good. The early siege tank drop is almost always deadly. I have only not succeeded once in a build in silver. I haven't gotten to try it in gold yet.
Add-on complete.
But then you catch up with the economy later because you have good enough army to defend all your expansions. So that's always a good thing. Just make sure you keep getting upgrades, because as you can see, my minerals are slowly starting to build up. Make sure you keep building barracks. From StarCraft Noob School, I'll have a link in the description. A good ratio for production buildings to expansions is about 3 to 1 I mean, the situation does vary. It's not always exact. But about 3 barracks or 3 factories or 3 starports or a combination
Vespene gas.
per 1 expansion, and that usually keeps you nice and supplied low. Make sure you keep building engineering bays, or build another engineering bay, get an armory, get +2/+2, get vehicle enhancement weapons, all that good stuff, and proceed to crush your enemy. So, now that that replay is over, I'm going to be going through how you do that in normal games against real people on the ladder. So, let us get into that. Alright, so we are loading the game. This replay was taken from a 4v4 with some friends, or a free-for-all with some friends. They were really bad, but that's not really the point of this replay. I wanted to show the end game, really, and the beginning drop. The beginning drop was really bad. I did horrible, and I just had to kill off that player as soon as possible, simply because it was a revenge kind of thing. So I'm honestly not super good at like spectating replays and whatnot, so I'm just going to have it follow my camera, and I'm going to speed it up.
SCV ready.
So we're just going to start off normally, just exactly how I described it
SCV
with
ready.
my AI game.
SCV ready.
Um,
SCV ready.
just performing everything nice and crisp, nice and smooth. Next to no flaws. It was really pretty.
SCV ready.
And did some scouting. I wanted to find out where everyone was. So
SCV
that,
ready.
actually, I'm going to rewind that. That is important. I didn't actually specify that, and I did have a request for more in-depth with scouting. So with this build, what you want to do, right about now, I send out my scout, right? So right about now, look at the progress of the barracks. It's only about a third done, and I'm going to be sending out an SCV to scout. That is a really good habit to do, especially if you don't know where people are. In this case, a 4v4 map, or a 2v2 map, that is, or a free-for-all. And this is a 1v1 ladder map, so scouting is always good. My next replay will be more about like normal scouting, I guess. I might actually do a tutorial on scouting because there's not really a good one, and it is a little confusing sometimes, and I feel it needs a good explanation. But yeah, so right now I'm sending out a scout right at 12 minutes, or not 12 minutes, 2 minutes with 12 supply, and about a third of the way done with the barracks, just so I can see what people are doing. So let us continue with our
SCV ready.
faster. Just sending my little scout out yonder. Look at him go, so
SCV
brave.
ready.
Alright, immediately build my factory. See that my brother was down there. He had walled off, so I couldn't see what he was doing, but my brother's not good, so that's okay. Immediately build my starport. Immediately start that, drop my mule, keep building SCVs, and build a supply depot to follow off the wall. At 19 supply here, let's look at the units. I am actually behind on SCVs. I was not aware of this. Okay, so that just goes to show, when you're skipping an SCV here and there, this might be part of the reason why I'm silver, but that's okay. I'm willing to admit that, willing to accept it. It really makes a difference if you see here 21 SCVs versus my 16. Now if you think about it and do the math, I think it's what, 5 minerals every 10 seconds or something? I'm not really sure. But let's just say it's 5 minerals every 10 seconds, which is a really big assumption, and I'm pretty confident that's not it. Yeah, but let's just say it is. So I'm 5 SCVs behind, so that is 25 minerals every 10 seconds that I'm missing out on, which really adds up fast, really fast. because after 20 seconds I won't be able to build another SCV or a marine and all that. You get the point. My math is way off. I have no idea how fast an SCV mines, but that is my point I'm trying to make. So that is good to point out. So
Additional supply depots required. Add-on
just
complete.
gently supply blocked. That's always been an issue with me. I'm working on it, don't worry. Building a tank first, and then building a Medivac soon when I have the Vespene. If you didn't see, I'll actually rewind because this is also a good point. Rewind. Okay, so my starport's almost done, and I don't have another Vespene geyser. So you will be able to see through the replay. I start now when my starport's almost finished.
Additional supply depots required.
And that's not
Add-on
good because
complete.
I have enough for a siege tank, but then I don't have enough for, like, I'm trying to build a Medivac right now. Look at how much Vespene I have. I have 18 and it takes 100. So that is a very good point to make. Do not be late with your Vespene geyser. It is highly important. Otherwise the timing is way off and their army is bigger than you anticipate. And it's just not good. I got supply blocked. I build my tech lab on my barracks to get that nice little marauder tech. You know, should have done that a little earlier, but
Add-on complete.
that's okay. Honestly, the marauder isn't a huge deal. Of all the things to mess up, the tech lab is one of the least of your concerns. Building another command center right down in my natural. Didn't have to build it in my base passively because there's no way they can get to it. Got my siege tank, and notice how I have 2 siege tanks before I even have 1 Medivac, and in my versus AI that was definitely not the case. So just pointing that out.
Research complete.
Trying to continue building SCVs. I will say in my defense I was on TeamSpeak with these guys and we were just joking around, so
Ready for dust off.
I know no excuses, but that would be the reason I was so lax right now. I decided to load up my Medivac. Move my stuff, rally, double rally, because full saturation is at 16 or 18 SCVs on minerals. I don't quite remember. So since I'm at 19, right there, you know, I can rally both down there so that it fills up faster, and I'm turning this into an orbital command. So let us continue at a fast pace.
Add-on
I really want to focus on the drop here. Okay, slow down.
complete.
So the turret really bothered me. Look at how badly that went. Let's just analyze that, shall we? He has his siege tanks and a turret in the most ideal positions, so no matter where I went, the siege tanks would blow up anything I had. So that is why you really need to, like, for example, go right here. Like, drop off your tank right here. Because if you look, while my Medivac would have had a heck of a time, maybe drop off my tank down here instead. My tank could have just come up and done what it wanted, and only one SCV can get through here at a time. And then they could have been defended by the Marines and Medivacs and stuff, and I could have shot down the turret, so I could have done a lot more damage. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Crap. What is it? Yeah, I don't know, whatever. So, yeah, that's a really big problem for me in this game. So, that's where a drop can go wrong. The Medivac didn't live, though. That was good.
Research complete.
It really minimized it. So now I'm just kind of going to fast forward really quick. Just go through my build. Let's actually take a look at the units. I'm actually now beating everybody by SCVs, and this is another point. Don't stop producing SCVs, because you can see 39 versus 32 versus 24 versus 23. That goes in a nice order. So now I'm beating everyone else in minerals, and I'm able to produce a lot more than everyone else, and that will give me a huge advantage.
Additional supply depots.
Oh, another drop.
SCV
Up top
ready.
this time.
Ready for dust
Add
off.
on.
Sieging a tank.
SCV ready.
And you'll see the damage I do here. I try and kite his marines into my tank because that's the main thing to do.
SCV ready.
And I'm actually going to keep my camera on that so I can show you.
SCV ready.
So that siege tank doesn't siege, which is bad on his part. And then I'm just kind of pounding away at stuff. I decide to back out because, I mean, he's sent his marines at me.
Upgrade complete.
And then I decide to go drop the other corner.
SCV ready.
So building
Additional
another
supply
factory so I can
depots
get more
required.
tanks. As you can see, I have a pretty decent amount of tanks. Just keep producing tanks and bio, and you'll be set. The ratio for bio, marines, and marauders is really kind of hard to just say. I mean, because it really depends on what the enemy is doing. You're just gonna kind of have to get a feel for it. And then I decide to push out because I got my third. Notice I am turning my third into an orbital planetary fortress because it's slightly harder to defend, so it gives me just that couple seconds sooner to get to it to defend it in case it gets attacked.
Ready.
I start scanning, getting a feel for what's up, looking for a third base from my brother down in the bottom corner. Building that factory, building more refineries to keep up with my siege tank need.
Add on complete. Upgrade complete.
Kind of taking a wit of mine, and if you pay attention
Upgrade. Add
to
on complete.
where I send him eventually,
Let's have a blast.
he will be
Mineral field depleted.
harassing up here, I believe,
Additional
or
supply
down here,
depots required.
right at the entrance, just to,
I can't
yep,
build.
there we go.
Mineral field depleted.
So I
Additional
send my
supply depots required.
my wit of mine to just kind of poke and not allow that third because I know he's not expanded there, but he's gonna have to soon.
Your forces are under attack.
Unfortunately, he does die, which was sad. And then down here, just building another factory, a couple more barracks. Just kind of keep up with the production need. Because, again, like I said, I have 3 fully saturated bases. This base is actually running out. I'm going to need to expand soon. And I need about 3 production per thing. So that's actually perfect. Because this will be just 2 over this factory. And this factory will make it 2 over 1 production building per expansion.
This better be good.
And, I mean, look how much minerals I'm accumulating, even with all that. So,
Go, go, go.
one thing to do is just keep building more production and keep expanding. That is a huge thing. Just keep expanding. I will actually be just building random command centers throughout the map here eventually. And I'm pushing out in a very careful manner. I'm trying to keep my siege tanks there so I can macro the rest of everything just to ensure better safety. If you'll notice, I am building 2 command centers right there, and you may be asking, Pulse Panda, why the heck are you building 2 command centers right there? Well, fellow viewers, let me actually go through this. It's a good question. So, right here, there is a choke point. If you can't tell, there is a choke point. You cannot walk through this, right? My siege tank is testimony to that. So, by placing a command center there and then turning it into a planetary fortress, what this will do is it will force other units to funnel through this. And, not to mention the fact that a planetary fortress has, 1,500 health? That's a decent amount of health. Same thing goes over here. I can have siege tanks lined up in these bushes, because as soon as they hit my command center, they're going to immediately start focusing that, because that's what most players do. They attack move, right? So while they're busy focusing that, my siege tanks are just ripping them apart. Same thing back here. I can line up siege tanks here and here and just rip them apart. It funnels them more in a place where they already don't want to be. So this chokes them around the command center. It's like a giant thing. It splits his army in half to come attack me, at which point my tanks will just destroy him if I ever need to defend. It also allows a nice slow down warning while my army is out over here. it allows me to know, like, hey, they're attacking, because my lady will say, your base is under attack. I'm like, oh, okay, gotta go look at that. And I'll see that they're there, and I can reposition my army to be more effective. So that is why, fellow viewers, that is why.
Piece of me, boy.
Just gonna fast forward here. The attack doesn't really matter, but this is about where I'm gonna stop. The game does last longer. I do win. They all suck. But look at how many siege tanks I have. From a decently good bio build, I have that many siege tanks. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 siege tanks. That do a lot of damage. I also want to point out that my upgrades are slightly behind, but they're still better than probably everyone else's. Yep, he's got 1-1. I've got 1-2. He's got 0-1. He's got 0-0. No, wrong thing. It is 0-1. See, so my upgrades are better than his. So that is about where I want to stop here. With those siege tanks, and that is really the value of this build. You really get a good tech army with this. So let us get on to the second demonstration. Behind the game behind me is a TvP. I do end up winning this game, and it is mostly due to my drops with my siege tanks that I got early. So I'm just going to point out a couple things while we do this, and again, I'm bad at spectating, so I'm just going to have it follow my camera. So just immediately start producing SCVs, set all those hotkeys and everything. Make sure you hotkey everything. It is really useful to hotkey everything.
SCV ready.
Start your wall, just give you vision on the ramps so I know when a probe comes in,
SCV ready.
all that good stuff.
SCV ready.
In this game I also noticed I started my refinery late again,
SCV
and that is
ready.
something I need to work on. And that's one thing I'm really loving about this series so far, is that I'm able to
SCV ready.
fix my errors. I'm seeing my errors a lot because I'm trying to teach a build order, and I'm seeing what I'm doing wrong from what I know it's supposed to be. So immediately start my tech lab, get a little supply blocked again.
Complete.
See, so again, look at the refinery and my starport. It's just wrong time, but whatever. And this is really,
SCV ready.
again, like the strength of the army you get from it. And then, like, so I have a siege tank. I had to decide where to move it. It was in the way everywhere.
Add-on complete.
But then I just load up my siege tank and go do a drop, and
Coming through. SCV ready.
I find out that there's a stalker that I'm killing. So if you pay attention, I will lose my drop. Well, most of my drop anyway. That's okay. So if you pay attention, just pause right there. Oh, wrong button. Look at how many workers I've killed. I've killed 6 units, he's killed 5. But I've killed 5 workers, and he hasn't killed any. So I killed 5 workers with that drop. Granted, I could have microed a little better, could have saved more than just a tank, but I mean, that's still pretty good. So, let's continue.
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
And Medivac, of course, survives. Start my extra production buildings, my expansion, getting upgrades and stuff.
Add-on complete.
Currently I'm getting my concussive shells just finished.
Research complete.
So now I can get Marines with slow, which is immensely helpful, by the way. Marine with, or Marauder with slow is just great. So start my expansion. If you notice where I place my tanks, just this little side note, because this is a silver tutorial series, look at where they are. They are in an ideal position to be able to fire on anything, but be out of the way enough that they're not really necessarily focused down, because then I'll have these guys all up in front. Just a little tactical thing, I guess you could say, for that. I'll start my orbital command. Go through all the building and stuff.
Ready. Coming through.
Just do a quick transfer. Took 7 SCVs from my main base because I had too many,
Ready.
and just moved them over real quick. And I just take a drop. I'm not sure if this is counted as a death drop, having 3 Medivacs full of units,
Ready for dust off.
and just dropping them in the base and leaving them there. But if it is, that's what this is. And look how much damage I just destroy stuff. I'm just cruising through, taking out all his
Field
production.
completed.
His one zealot does a decent amount of damage. He is killing out my tanks, which is rude.
It's go time. We could use some help.
And starting a 3rd expansion. But, I mean, look at how much damage I did. Like, look at that. I've killed 20 units now, and he's killed 7. I just did a ton of damage with that one drop.
Additional supply
Just 3
depots
siege tanks and
required.
a bunch of marines. I let him kite me around a little, which was bad, but whatever. Just kill a bunch of buildings. Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to see how many buildings I've killed. If there is, please comment below. I will use that to my advantage later. But if, yeah, I killed a lot of buildings.
Armed and ready.
Building some upgrade facilities, building more units. Look at our mineral counts. He's got 2,000, I've got 500. That's a big difference as well.
Ready for dust off.
I've got a turret because I saw his mothership core,
It's on.
and I figured that could be hazardous to my health later. So,
Could use some help here.
I will point out, I'm actually going to rewind, because when I sent my drop, I guess I selected units. Like, I might have accidentally hit select my entire army key or whatever, to come and attack, because look at what happens here. Let's slow down to normal speed. Alright, so he's retreating his guys because he knows that I'm attacking him because I'm in his base, right? So if you watch, I've got upgraded units coming. Like, I think I'm about to finish. Oh, I didn't even start it. Okay, well, that's good to know. So I have concussive shells, though. And I'm going to be waltzing in here and killing stuff. And keep in mind, I didn't know that I was doing this, but it is a really, really good testament. I killed his expansion without even knowing it. Okay. Now, I cannot stress the multiple implications of that. Mostly, I am bad at StarCraft, but I'm learning. But second, if you're doing like a death drop, send some units, because anyone below platinum or so isn't really going to know what to do about it. Like, if I had known that my group was going to just go attack him, you know, that would have been cool and all. But notice how he didn't send anything at me at all. Think about it. At about right here, maybe a little further. Okay. Okay. So, you know. So, right about now, all his crap is dead. Which I understand is going to be hard to send stuff at me. But that's exactly my point. It's attacking later, right? All my guys just killed all of his army. And so my guys have a free reign to just come in and kill what they want. Alright? And he can send whatever he wishes at me. But nothing's going to change the fact that he can't get here because he can't get past this. So that's just a really good thing to point out. Sending a secondary prong attack on his expansion, just slightly delayed after your drop, is huge. I mean, I kill the base without even meaning to. And then, on top of that, I kill all his workers. And then all his zealots. So let's just look at what I've just done. I've killed 8 workers and 27 units in that one attack. So that's just really important thing to note. Just gonna
Ready for
progress
dust
here,
off.
and that basically just ended up the game. I expand a little bit. I push out because I know he's there, and I just slaughter his guys. I siege my tanks just in case there were more, and he surrenders them. So really, that is the importance of the drop. It really does a lot of damage, as you just saw, and it can really, really devastate a lot of people. So, that is about it for all I have. I plan on releasing a new video probably once a week. It's very soft, probably. It could very well end up to be once every 2 weeks. Mostly because I need to get other build orders and practice them. I'm also thinking about doing other sorts of tutorials on this channel, such as anything from, build order tutorials, as I'm doing now, to Java development tutorials, to maybe even just Portal gameplay with a friend, just Portal walkthroughs. So let me know your thoughts. What do you want to see on this channel? I'm wide open to suggestions. As I said, this is my first ever attempt at YouTube success, and so I'm really hoping for some good results. I really look forward to your feedback. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, the link below. It really helps. When I found out I had 150 views on my last video, I was just ecstatic. Thought I was famous, because I've never had such success with public, production. So it really helps if you guys just like the video at least. Comment ideas, critiques, any build orders you want to see in the future. And until next time.